Hi there, welcome back to my channel. I want to invite you into my garden today and give you a look around. I have lots of things growing. I am in zone 9B and it is getting solidly into the heat of the season. So let me show you my heat loving plants that are thriving, and I'm also going to give you a peek into my food forest. I'm going to start off right here in my little netted tunnel area that has protected a lot of my little crops from the birds, and that's our main pest here. I have cucumbers and I have gray zucchini growing. The cucumbers are definitely going to struggle with the amount of heat we have, so I picked the shadiest spot. It gets afternoon shade, but my zucchini is a heat tolerant variety native to Mexico, and they love our zone 9B heat and continue growing through the hot season. This is my second season growing loofah, and I am so excited for how the plants are thriving. They were a little slow to start, but I have them at two different places in my garden, and they are just taking off and really bushing out with large leaves. So I love that they're climbing over the top of this netted area, and I can't wait to see the loofahs hanging down. Our season is so long, it lends itself really well to some of these longer crops. This is Seminole pumpkin and seeds that I have saved last year, and I'm excited to see what comes of them. All the seeds that I have planted in this area are from seeds that I saved, so I am loving seeing the fruit of crops that have acclimated to our heat and our soil, and they are just really thriving this year. This section is cowpeas, and again, seeds that I saved 100% from last year. They're already starting to get some flowers underneath, so I am so excited to see the plant filling with fruit. This is something we let fully dry on the vine, and so it needs the longer season. Last year, I really enjoyed the process of picking the dry hulls and shelling the peas. On this side, I have two different varieties of long beans. I bought asparagus long beans last year, but I also got a purple long bean. So I saved seeds from both of those, and I am trellising them on this little homemade trellis, and you can see they've already grown up and are even exceeding the top. So it's exciting to see how big the plants have gotten. I'm waiting for them to be bushy and filled with fruit, and I will definitely show you when we get to that point. In this corner, I have our herb bed, which has some great basil plants thriving and growing tall, as well as mint, oregano, and Cuban oregano, also called Vicks plant, and that's a really neat plant that I've recently learned about. But we also have a few volunteers over here. We have this small volunteer tomato and a huge trailing vine of pumpkin. And this would be left over from when we fed our chickens, and seeds have gotten scratched around the yard. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. It's always fun to let volunteer plants grow because they often thrive just growing where they're planted. I've also planted loofah plant on this side of the garden, and it's so exciting to see it climb across the top of this fence. It makes the garden feel so tropical, and I'm interested to see how long it will grow. last thing in the garden space is this bed of potatoes. I planted an entire bed devoted to potatoes, but as you can see, we also ended up with some sweet potatoes that are volunteers from last year. So that will be fun to see what we dig up at the end of the potato season. We may get some small sweet potatoes along with it. Out here in the food forest, I have several trees, some fruit trees we've added in the last year, as well as some shrubs and ground cover. Here I have some pepper plants, which have produced a few small peppers so far, as well as a couple of my larger sweet potato patches. I grew my own sweet potato slips this last year and put them in the spring, several different places. So I'm happy to see them spreading, and I'm hoping we get a good harvest of sweet potatoes. We also have lime trees that are well established in our yard. This moringa tree that we planted ourselves, and it has given us moringa seeds and flowers and leaves. If you haven't heard of this tree, it's often called the miracle tree or the tree of life, and we have enjoyed the benefits of this tree. I'll have to share more about that in another video. I have a banana tree that was a gift from a friend, a pup that came out of their yard, and they passed it along to me. So this tree is beginning to thrive here. It should tolerate our seasons very well, and I hope that it produces a rack of bananas for us eventually. I also have a guava tree and a mulberry tree that I'll take you over to see, as well as several small moringa trees that I put in just this summer. This is the little mulberry tree. It did fruit this year, and we were able to enjoy several tiny fruit. It's quite a small tree, so I'm hoping it puts on some growth this year and produces even more this coming year, but it's exciting to see it grow, and as you can see, it's putting on new leaves. I planted this moringa tree in a pot in the spring, grew it from seed, and then I put it in the ground a couple months ago. It's doubled in size. These trees grow so fast, and their leaves are very nutritious, good to add to salads or stir fries. This is what I call my little plant nursery, and in the shade of this very old mesquite tree, I often have plant starts going. I'm sprouting seeds. I have a little workbench area my husband made, and usually I just take care of the things that I am figuring out where they'll fit best in the yard or in the garden right here. Thanks so much, especially if you've stayed till the end. I'm so happy you were able to come tour my garden in June. And remember, it's never too late to start. There's always something you can grow. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'll invite you to stick around and see more about my home and garden. And please give this video a thumbs up, especially if you've made it this far. I hope you've enjoyed it. See you in the next one.